What's up, Fight House fans? We're back. We have another good week, episode 13. You're here with me, Jason Sutcliffe, and
Tristan Keddy.
Welcome to the Fight House. So this week we're going to kick things off with Richard Odoms and Jared Vanderaa. We're going to talk about their upcoming heavyweight title fight for LFA at LFA 15 in Oklahoma on June 30th. It's going to be a great fight. Both dudes crack. Really looking forward to it. Next up, we're going to bring in Itzel Esquivel, and she's going to be talking about her upcoming fight with Maycee Barber, June 23rd in Houston, Texas. Trying to remember all these venues. And then we're going to talk to Maycee Barber right after. And she's going to talk to us about the fight and making her pro debut and all the good stuff that comes along with that. We're going to close out the show tonight with Cortez, Coleman, and Chris Harris. We're going to talk about their middleweight fight that we have coming up, the co-main event, June 30th. In Oklahoma at LFA 15. So overall, we got a really good show tonight.
That was another banger. It's going to be another crazy fight.
That's good. Those guys don't know how to put on a boring fight. Really looking forward to that. So that's the show we got with you guys today, and we're going to be right back with Richard Odoms and Jared Vanderaa on the line. So stick with us. It's going to be a good show. See you soon.
At 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the very first round, tap out due to guillotine choke. Out of the red corner, Jared Vanderaa.
Hey, this is what I'm here to do.
You heard him right there, and then you came in for the kill.
Yeah, I saw it. He ate that body shot. I love it. Got to give it to him.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back. We have Richard Odoms on the line with Jared Vanderaa. They're going to be fighting for the vacant heavyweight title at LFA 15 in Oklahoma. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me here on the show.
How you doing, sir? What's up, guys?
Not much, man. Thanks for coming. Big fight coming up. There's a lot on the line. Richard, what did you think when you first got the fight? How did you feel about the matchup?
Oh, I was fine with the matchup. I was just looking for a matchup, and I was hoping that it would come soon with the belt on the line. So, with that being said, I think Jared's going to be an outstanding opponent. I have all honor in him and stepping forward and going forward with this. I think it's going to be awesome.
And Jared, you're being 5-0 and just getting kind of at the start of your career here. Were you surprised by the title fight at all?
I was wanting to fight like Richard. I mean, I wanted to fight. Then they were like, "Hey, we got a title shot if you want it." And I'm like, "Cool." I was like, "Give me whoever." I've been training hard, and I just wanted whoever they offered me. They told me Richard. I was like, "Cool, let's get down to it." He seems like a great opponent. It's going to be a great fight. Much respect to him and his camp. I mean, I'm not cutting no shortcuts for him. Dude's a tough dude. So, I mean, I'm training hard, and I'm assuming he's training hard. So I know we're going to have a fight on our hands.
I'm looking forward to this one, man. Richard, you're the veteran, and Jared's kind of the newcomer. He's the up-and-comer here. Do you feel like your time in the sport, your age, your experience is going to play in your favor in this fight?
Not really. I know it. I feel like it's going to be a factor in the fight, but other than that, I feel that again, he's 5-0. He didn't get 5-0 by just beating anybody. I'm sure he fought some good people. His last guy was pretty huge. So with that being said, I think he's going to be a formidable opponent.
Definitely. And Jared, with yourself coming in, this is probably the first guy you've been at. He's got a 12-3 record. He's got a lot of experience. Do you feel like your youth is going to play a factor, being just 25 coming into it?
No. Actually, one fight of mine, I took a 24-hour notice against a guy that was like 11 and 15. Very experienced guy. He had a bunch of UFC veterans under his belt. I took his fight on 24-hour, and I got my TKO. Now, it doesn't, that fight doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pan out the same exact way with Richard. He has a good record for a reason. It's a heavyweight fight also, one false move, one of us are going canvas. It's heavyweights. We hit hard.
That being said, how do you see this fight playing out? Jared?
Let's see. Honestly, if I would like it to go in my favor, I've been training hard. But I mean, I can't sit there and say it's going to be easy win one way or another, how I want to win or whatever. I just want to get that W. I'm just training hard to, for all the options and opportunities I get to take with Richard. I mean, I can't sit there and say there's one way I want a particular win because I can't say, I want to knock Richard out. I haven't tested his jaw out yet. Mm-hmm. I can't say I want to submit him because I don't know how good his ground game is. I can't sit there and say it could go all 5 rounds. We could be gas and go to a split decision. I can't give you an answer. I mean, I'm just training to get that W, and I'm pretty sure Richard's training for that W also.
I'm sure he is. Richard, speaking of title fights, this will be your 3rd title fight of your career, from what I could tell from Tapology. And Jared, mm-hmm. you don't have one under your belt. Do you feel like training for 3 title fights previously in your career will benefit you in this fight?
Not really. Like Jared said, hey, he's got the youth on his side. Again, it is what it is. This old guy is coming in there. But again, I'm putting in work. I'm putting in work just like Jared's doing. I'm sure he's getting prepared. I'm getting prepared as well. With that being said, I just think that it's going to be different. I've never really seen Jared, and it's going to be something new. It's always a big fight. Every fight after that first fight has always been a big fight. With Jared, I know that O is something that's lingering out there as far as the situation. I've been there with him. I went 7-0 before I got my first loss. With that being said, it's going to be I feel it's going to be a factor in my end because again you don't want to lose that O, and that O means big things to come on later on. So with that being said, I think Jared knows his game and he's doing well, and I feel that he's going to come and try and bring it, and I'm going to bring it as well, and it's going to be one of those bang out fights. 5 rounds, hey, I expect it to go 5 rounds. I expect it to go 5 rounds.
So if I was to ask you how you anticipate this fight going, you feel like it's going to go the full 5? Richard?
It's definitely possible. I'm
expecting it to go. That's what I would go.
Sorry, you're breaking up on us there. Sorry, you're expecting it to go?
Yeah, I'm expecting 5 rounds.
How do you? Sorry. Was for Richard quickly. How do you see this fight playing out? Richard? Do we have
as far as that, I expect to go all 5 rounds.
Yep.
It just depends on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but yeah.
Okay. With that being said, I expect it to go 5 rounds. I'm in it for that, and like I said, I plan to bring it, and he's gonna bring it, and so I can only expect to go 5 rounds. How it ends up, like he said, all heavyweights pop. All heavyweights have that pop.
Definitely.
He could get an easy fight. It could be a long fight. Either way, it's going to be one of those fights that I'm fully prepared to go wherever the fight goes.
And Jared, quickly, how do you respond to Richard talking about the pressure of being undefeated? Do you feel that pressure at all going in to keep your O?
I not really. I don't look at my like during my amateur years. I suffered a few losses. I mean, I've taken jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai tournaments prior to my professional career, and I've won and lost those. So I mean, I have felt this sting of loss, not on a professional level. So I don't really take that into a factor. I just train hard. I go in to do, I fight, and thankfully I've trained hard enough to get 5 wins and no losses. I mean, I'm preparing to train hard, and I'm going to try to get that W just like Richard is. Each fight is a new battle. I can't always look at what I have. I mean, we both have a big opportunity here. Not only if I lose, it goes on my record, but, we both have an opportunity to pursue something more. I mean, everyone's been talking about Richard's age. I mean, yeah, he's a bit older, but if you look at a lot of heavyweights, they're not young either. Most of them are in their mid to late 30s. Some of them have even peaked into their early 40s, like Richard is. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily taking his age into that consideration. I'm not taking, my record into consideration. I'm just taking this as a fight, preparing to fight like it's my last fight, or if it's my first fight. I want to go out to win. He wants to go out to win, so, I can't really sit there and say it's going to be one way or another. And the factors, I can't really play into those. I just got to go train hard and hope for the best.
Absolutely. Richard, one thing he brought up there was that, there's something more on the line. Given your age, you are 42 years old. Do you feel like this is your last shot to, maybe make the UFC or one of those made stages?
No, I feel that there's many avenues to get where I want to go. So I don't feel like this is my last shot. I feel like this is a good test that's in front of me. And I'm willing to step up, take the test. The old guy's already ready to go, so it is what it is. With that being said, I don't. The thing with age is I don't take anybody lightly at all. So he's at 5-0 and doesn't look like a lot of fights compared to my fights, and doesn't look like the age gap is there, but I'm cutting no shorts when it comes to Jared. I feel he's going to be something that's going to be formidable, that I'm going to have to step up, and if I want this, I got to take it.
Are you at all motivated by taking his O? By knowing that you could possibly end his undefeated streak? Does that motivate you at all? Richard?
One more time, say it again.
Yeah, sorry, Richard. I said, does it motivate you at all to take his O, to end his undefeated streak? Do you take any extra motivation from that?
Oh, it is a motivation. It is a motivation. It's more of a motivation as far as having this belt and making history. This will be the first inaugural belt for LFA. LFA is probably an organization just outside of UFC, outside of Bellator, and it would look real good. With that being said, whether I get picked up by UFC again or not, I think this is something that I can hang my hat on and say, hey, that I did an awesome job as far as MMA.
Definitely. Jared, do you feel like, you look at the UFC's heavyweight division right now, and it's not the deepest it's been before, like in prior years. Do you feel like with a win here, like you're right there on the door, like you could get that call?
Yeah, no. Personally, I think me and Richard are both right there at the door. I mean, I watched one of the last LFA heavyweights go to the UFC, Rashad Coulter,
yep.
And personally, the display that I saw, I was kind of a little disappointed. Granted, I feel like he didn't have his full camp. He was jumping to the bigger stage, a little nervous, but if he displayed that in the LFA zone, maybe against me or Richard, I personally think me or Richard would have beaten him. I personally think Richard has a good record, solid. I feel like he definitely could have been UFC bound by now. I think if we go in there and just beat the living hell out of each other, all 5 rounds, it's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised if we both get picked up, because I feel Richard's a very good opponent for me. I feel like, I'm up there, to give some marketability both ways. win or lose, I think we could both make something out of this fight. Definitely for our future in MMA.
Awesome. I'd love to see both you guys get picked up and get a chance to compete on that main stage. And for you, Richard, to get up there. I want to thank you guys for coming out. Actually, if you guys want to thank anybody or get any sponsorships out there or anything, Jared, take a second, and then I'll give Richard a second to throw any shout-outs or whatever you want to do.
All right. First, I want to thank teammates of Team Quest, Dances Athletic Center, my sponsors, and KO Reps. I also want to give a shout-out to Richard, my opponent. Richard, I know you're a police officer. I have much respect for police officers. What you do, to me, is golden. I appreciate you sacrificing your life every day, protecting our home. So thank you for doing that.
Awesome. And Richard?
Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us. And Richard, what about yourself? Anybody you want to thank or any sponsorship, anything like that? Hello, Richard?
I appreciate that, Jared. That's me. With that being, I'm just. I feel like I'm call out Rodrigo Pinheiro and Pete Spratt Muay Thai. They're always helping me out and getting me ready for fights, man. And we're always getting good people in to be able to get us prepared. I want to shout out Ohana Academy, and they've always helped me out as far as the situation when I need sparring or I need this or I need that. Everybody's always willing to help out. You got Submission Concepts that I want to also shout out. There's another school here in San Antonio where I do a majority of my stuff and teach and things along those lines. Shout out the department as far as San Antonio Police Department being back behind me and always supporting that thin blue line, always supporting that thin blue line. Clinch Gear, them people as far as them doing what they do and the product that they put out. And it's I could be here all day, but I want to thank those that support Blue, that support the job that we go out there. And we try and do the best thing that we can as far as everything that's going on with the new regime that's going on as far as video and things of that sort that are bringing bad light to things. With that being said, Jared, again, thank you for this fight. Thank you for stepping up and being somebody that's going to be here for the fight. And that's basically thanking San Antonio, LFA. Thank you for trusting in me to go ahead and go forward with this and to have this chance. This is real big.
Awesome.
I'd like to thank my wife for being such a pain in my ass as far as everything going on at home and keeping everything in order. So with that being said, I appreciate you for allowing this interview to go on, and I think it's going to be a great fight. Nobody wants to miss on this fight, so if you can tune in the Access fight, or if you can show up in Shawnee, Oklahoma, that'd be awesome as well. So support MMA. MMA is something that fighters don't get supported on enough for what they do. They're putting their lives on the line as far as putting on entertainment and just going out there and putting the best performance I can put on that night.
Awesome. Listen, man, I want to thank both of you for joining us here at the Fight House. I really appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. For everyone listening, that's Richard Odoms, Jared Vanderaa, LFA 15, June 30th in Oklahoma. You don't want to miss it for the heavyweight title, the inaugural title. History will be made. Thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Absolutely.
No problem, sir.
All right. Have a great night, gentlemen.
You too, guys. Good night.
Well, I'm looking forward to this one. Two nice guys, you know?
Yeah, I think it's fun. Well, I think it's when it comes with the heavyweights. The heavyweights don't have to talk, you know what I mean, too much. But at the end of the day, we're doing this for entertainment. But it's nice also to see the opposite, the complete opposite, where you put people on the line, that you see either they respect each other. Some people don't, but clearly in this case, it's the latter.
Yeah, I think it's just a different attitude some people need to bring to fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Some people have to be hostile. It's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They have to bring that energy. You know what I mean? They have to get into a certain mind frame or whatever. And other people, it's just like, no, it's an athletic competition. Like, and they're kind of self-motivated like that. I always love the heavyweights. Like, they could crack. And Odom, if you remember what his last fight, it was
really. It's like I was going to say, the title's important, but almost more importantly, on top of the title is how the fight goes. If there's a huge finish, again, like you said, the UFC's heavyweight division isn't very plentiful. There's not a lot of fighters there. And then so people are always going up and down. Look at Hunt and the previous fight on Saturday night. It's just you did call it. I will tell you that you did say that Mark Hunt had a solid chance at winning that fight, but it's the ups and downs of the heavyweight division is just unbelievable sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely, and it's like. It's just one of those unpredictable divisions where like skill doesn't always. Perfect example was like Junior and Kane, right?
Yeah. Like
the first fight, it's like Junior came over and just cracked them. Then you see how the next two fights went. You're like, wow, like how'd that happen?
Yep.
They're heavyweights. That's how that happened.
It's odds. It happens.
That's how it goes, But we're gonna be back. We have another great guest, Itzel Esquivel. She's going to be here to talk to us a little bit about her upcoming fight with Maycee Barber, who's making her pro debut, and she'll be with us as well later tonight. So we'll be back with Itzel, and we look forward to that conversation. So stay with us. See you in a minute.
You can see Itzel blocking with the shin bone, then bringing the arm up, sliding that foot through, getting that triangle started, pulls the foot down, and then switches off to the arm right away. Doesn't waste any time, extends the hips, locks the elbow out, and it's over.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Itzel Esquivel. How you doing, Itzel? How's everything going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing really good. Thanks for joining us today. How's everything going? How's camp?
It's going well so far.
Good. You got a fight against Maycee Barber coming up. She's another debuting fighter. There's going to be a lot of film to study on her. Is that something you prefer? Like to not have a bunch of film to study and kind of just go in there and freelance it, or do you like to be prepared?
Well, I feel like you kind of have to prepare, even if you don't have a lot of film on someone. You have to be prepared at the time. But if there were more film on her, it would definitely be better for me, so I could be more prepared. But I feel like I'm prepared for anything,
Yeah, you're coming off a really great performance against Brandy Narvaez. How did that fight feel? That was your second pro fight. How did you feel in there?
I felt pretty good. Going in there, I was just going in on 3 weeks' notice. I had just had a fight right before, and so I went out there and I just kind of did my thing, and it ended up being a pretty good result for me.
Definitely. Do you like the quick turnaround, or do you prefer to have a little bit of time in between your fights? What's your preference?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you prefer the quick turnaround, or do you like to have a little bit of time between your fights?
Either or. I've taken fights a lot of times that are on short notice. I don't really do too much of like the stop and then keep training, and then I kind of just keep training for the whole year, just in case that I do get a call from like anyone saying that they want me to fight or anything like that. So that way I'm prepared for any fight.
True. They say that MMA is kind of like a big game hunting. The bigger the name you take down, the better for your career, obviously. And this will be the third debuting fighter. After this fight with Maycee, are you going to be looking to take on like a bigger name with a bigger record?
Well, definitely. If I get an opportunity, I would definitely take it. They have said that maybe if I end up winning this fight, I'll fight for a title against Mackenzie Dern.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that'll end up happening, but if it does, that would be a huge opportunity for me for my career. And you know.
Let's quickly talk about that for a quick second. How do you feel about that fight? How do you feel like you would match up in that fight?
I feel pretty good. You know, it would definitely be an interesting fight because it would be the classic, you know, striker versus grappler. Of course, she is, you know, a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that would be something to watch out for. But even though her striking is getting better, I feel like it would be good for me because, you know, I have a pretty good striking background. So
sure. Well, you also have a pretty slick submission game. Your first 2 wins have come by way of submission. Would you be comfortable in that position?
I mean, I think so. It just really would depend on, you know, the situation or anything like that. You do have to prepare for those things. So that's what I do every day at the gym, drill certain things and stuff like that. So cool. I feel like if that fight ends up happening, I would be prepared for, you know, the grappling part of it and everything.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to get your feel on that. But before you get there, you obviously have Maycee in front of you. She's making the drop down from bantamweight to 115. Do you feel like you might be able to get a cardio advantage over her as the fight goes on, knowing she's making that kind of a drop?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, every girl goes out there and trains their hardest. So I mean, you can never know for sure. But I mean, it is definitely not as gruesome on me and my body, like if I'm cutting like her to where she's cutting down from like 135 to 115. I'm just cutting like 4 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds from 120 or 119. So that's like my natural weight. So I mean, I think it's an advantage to a certain point because whenever I'm in the fight, I don't feel like my legs are tired or like my arms are tired or you know, I don't gas out or stuff like that. So it may be an advantage.
Where do you feel like your biggest advantage is going to be in this fight?
I really honestly don't know. I mean, I think probably my control of the distance possibly or like my footwork. It's a little difficult to know because I know that she comes from a karate background as well since she was, I think, little. She did martial arts just like me. So I think it'll be a very interesting fight because I've never actually fought anyone who has had a karate or taekwondo background or anything like that. So it's always usually girls that have like grappling background or stuff like that. So I think it'll be something interesting to watch.
Definitely. What part of your skill set do you believe people don't really get a full grasp of until they're in the cage with you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, what part of your skill set do you feel like people don't get a complete grasp of until they're inside the cage with you?
I don't know. I feel like people probably underestimate me a little because I don't think I look very tough. And I don't think I look like I hit hard or anything like that. But then I go in there and, you know, I give it my all. So, you know, I think it ends up surprising them sometimes because, you know, I don't look like much of a fighter.
And is 115 your favorite weight class, or would you be even considering like a move around to 125, knowing that like the UFC is opening up divisions, or is that where you naturally fit in?
I think I'd probably stick at 115 for a while. Just to see, you know, if the results keep on progressing and stuff like that. Eventually, if I end up making it to the UFC and I do well in 115, I would definitely change to another weight class if it was necessary. Or if they end up putting a 105 division, I could probably drop to 105 also.
What would that weight cut be like for you? What's the weight cut like right now for you to 115?
Oh, like I said, it's only like I only dropped like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So I'm naturally 120, so it's not a bad thing for me.
Oh, nice. So fight week's pretty smooth for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's always nice. It looks like it can be hell for some people. When you see this fight, how do you see yourself finishing this fight?
I actually don't know, but I just know it's going to be a great fight to watch. I feel like we're both gonna give it our all, and leave it out there in the octagon, and it's gonna be great.
Definitely. What's your plan for like the rest of the year? How many more fights do you want to get in, and or what's your big goal for this year?
I mean, last year I had about 5 fights, so I think that was a lot for just 1 year. But I mean, I like to keep it that way. Usually, I just like to, every 3 months or so, fight again, because I don't like taking too much time off.
Right.
Because then I feel like I have to, get into the process of getting back into shape or stuff like that. So, I think I'd probably maybe fight 2 more times or something like that for the rest of the year, and then the next year.
So
I don't know.
What's your goal obviously most people's goal is the UFC. I imagine that's your goal too. What kind of timeline do you have set out for yourself before you want to see yourself inside the UFC cage?
Well, I would definitely like to see myself this year in the UFC, but everything has its time, and I guess my performances in these couple of next fights that I'm going to have will determine if I end up making it. So it really just depends on how I do in these next fights.
When you look at the division right now, when you look at the 115 division, how do you feel like you stack up when you look at the UFC's division?
I think I could do well in the division.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there aren't very many girls that have a lot of movement like me, so I think that would be definitely an advantage for me. There aren't too many girls that kick like me, or have too much speed in their hands. I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, I'm so fast, but I do consider myself a little bit faster sometimes than the rest of the people that I fight against. So, I mean, I feel like everyone's tough. I mean, for a reason, they're in the UFC already.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think eventually, whenever I make it, I'll see how I match up against people.
True. Let me ask you some questions, man, about fight week now. Right when you're done your fight, what's the first thing you go for? What's on the menu?
As in eating?
Yeah, absolutely.
I usually go and after my fight, I go with my family or friends, and we just go eat wings or eat some burgers or something like that.
Nice. Hey, listen, Itzel, I want to thank you for coming and spending a few moments with us here at the Fight House and talk to us about the fight. I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully we can have you back on the show again in the future.
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good luck in the fight, and we'll be tuned in.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was Itzel. She's Esquivel. They're going to go down. That one's actually going down on the 23rd of June at LFA 14. Her and Maycee, we're going to be talking to in a few minutes about her debut. I'm looking forward to this fight. Itzel's really skilled, really talented. I was really surprised with her performance against Brandy. I had never seen her compete before. Mm-hmm. It was really impressive.
I don't want to look past her current opponent or anything, but I heard her correctly? Was it she said it would be for a title, right? Against Mackenzie Dern at 115.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me
because she can't make weight. I mean, not to say she can't, but she's obviously had trouble, so she might just walk in and take that belt, just not even have to fight.
It'd be interesting to see how that goes. I like that fight. I like it. See what happens, because Mackenzie likes to crack. She's willing to get in there and bang a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if she wants to do that with Itzel. It'd be an interesting fight to watch. That's for sure. But before that, she's got to get through Maycee Barber. Sometimes these debuting fighters are unpredictable. You don't realize how good they really are. It's true. Until you see them in action.
It's just it's a fight out of necessity type thing. It's like I had to put up a good performance on so I can stay here.
Yeah, she's been a martial artist her whole life. It's something new to her. It's just this is new to her. Yeah. This professional level MMA, and it's not like Itzel's got a ton of experience. 2 fights in, right? So yeah. It should be interesting. And I look forward to talking with Maycee. So we're going to be back with her next. Thanks, everyone, for staying with us. And catch you in a few minutes. We'll be back with Maycee Barber. Take care. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back. We have Maycee Barber on the line, who's getting ready to make her pro debut at LFA 14, June 23rd in Houston, Texas. How you doing, Maycee? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. How's everything been? How's the camp going? Are you excited for your pro debut?
It's going good, yeah, and I am very excited.
What are the nerves like right now? Is it true that you have one AMI fight? Did I see that right on Tapology?
Yeah, that's right. I only have one amateur fight. It was a pretty short one as well, so yeah.
What made you make the jump so soon?
What's that?
I said, what made you? Go ahead. What you were saying. Go for it.
Oh, I was just saying that it was a short fight, but the nerves are not too bad, but they come and go.
Sure.
I'm just excited more.
Absolutely. What made you decide now was the right time?
Well, I had a hard time getting an amateur fight when I turned 18 in May, and I wanted to fight, consistently, and I wanted to take an amateur fight, and it took me about 6 months to get an amateur fight, and then after that, it took me another 6 months just to find another fight, and so I thought maybe turning pro would make it easier, which it didn't until I signed with LFA, and now that I signed with LFA, it's gotten a lot easier to get a fight. But
why do you think it was so tough for you to get a fight?
I don't know. I'm pretty I guess I would say well known in Colorado. Plus the fact that I train with a lot of the top athletes and having a social media following that, puts it out there that I've trained with Holly Holm and trained with Jackson Wink and Michelle Watterson and all the high level athletes. I think that kind of freaks some girls out, makes them a little bit nervous.
Does that give you confidence when you're going into a fight now as a pro that you've trained with these level of athletes?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel confident anyways. I mean, I've trained my whole life and I've put the work in, and we're not just training for one fight. We're training for my entire career. Not one fight is a make it or break it. It's just, how well I can get over time, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure you are. It's a big weight drop for you. You fought your amateur fight at bantamweight. You're now moving to straw weight. How hard are you anticipating this weight cut being for you?
Well, we decided when we signed with LFA that I was going to try and fight at 115, because I know that there's up in the higher levels, UFC and stuff, there's only 135 and there was only 115 at the time, so which has since changed actually. Right. But when I first signed with them, I'm like, well, I'll do 115. We'll give it a shot, because I had some weight to lose that I could change, so I just decided to go for it, and it has been a big drop. I've taken the past 4 months pretty hard, and we've been doing it. I have a nutritionist, and I mean, it's different. It's definitely difficult on some days, but it's been a good journey.
Did you do a test cut at all?
I'm sorry?
I said, did you do a test cut at all to see if you could make it, or how hard it was going to be?
I've made 125 before, and that was just on my own, that I was doing just a normal diet. Right. So I've never had to cut too much water. I cut a little bit, but we've kind of played with it a little bit. Yeah. Cool. We'll see. I haven't seen 115 in a little while, but I've been coming down gradually, so right. I'm not worried about it.
Sweet. After this fight, will you try to make the jump back to or up to 125 now that the UFC's decided to bring in a flyweight division? Will you try to make that move or stay at 115?
We'll see. I signed the contract to be at 115 for the next 4 fights. Okay. I would definitely like to give it a shot, because, being able to fight in 2 weight classes would be ideal. Absolutely. I could fight at 115 when I wanted to, and then if I had a short notice fight and I was walking around at 125, 126 pounds, I could take that one.
Sure.
So I'd like to stay around both, preferably.
And what was the reason? I mean, there is a bantamweight division, but what was your reason for deciding that strawweight was going to be the weight for you as a pro?
To me, just seeing how a lot of the girls that I've trained with that are bantamweights, I mean, they're bigger. They're a lot more. They have a bigger reach advantage, I guess, and they have, the size. A lot of girls that are in the 135 division walk around at 150, 160 pounds. So to cut to 135, I would be on the smaller end of that, and
Sure.
I'd like to also see if I could be on the bigger end of the 115, because I'm going to be a big 115er.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Do you feel like your power will translate well? Because I know you're a striker. You come from you have a traditional martial arts background. I'm correct when I say that, right?
Yeah. I came from karate. I started when I was 3. As far as power goes, I don't see it changing a whole lot. I feel the same. Obviously, with the weight cut right now, I feel a little less in terms of power.
Right.
But I know I'm going to get that back as soon as I refuel. But yeah, I don't see a whole lot of power change. I know that I originally, I've grown up doing different things. I've spent a lot of my time outside and doing a lot of stuff that most kids and most teenagers don't grow up doing. So I feel like I have a definite strength advantage.
What kind of stuff are you talking about? You said the stuff you were doing.
Well, I grew up outside. I live in a mountain. I used to live in the mountains, and just riding dirt bikes, shooting bows, guns,
Cool.
hunting, camping, stuff like that. I mean, I just spending more time outside doing stuff that not normal people do, I guess.
I understand. Well, you got a big fight coming up with you with Itzel Esquivel. What do you think about the fight? How do you feel like you match up with her?
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know a whole lot about her necessarily. I know that she's pretty well rounded. I went and watched one of her fights when I first signed with LFA, and like I said, I don't train for just one opponent. I train for all of them, and I don't try to worry too much about my opponents, partially because I've had a lot of opponents that once I start focusing on them, they back out. So it kind of got frustrating to me.
Okay.
So I just focused on myself and where I can improve. I feel like I'm more well-rounded in every aspect of the game than she is, just because I've put that much effort into it, and I know that she's young too. So yeah,
Nice.
I feel like we're pretty well matched, but at the same time, I just feel more confident. I've listened to a few of her interviews, and I think I'm just more confident in terms of where I'm at.
Okay. How do you see the fight ending when you visualize yourself in the fight?
I visualized it a lot of different ways, and definitely with a finish. I don't know if it's going to be in the first round or the second, but I can definitely guarantee a finish. I'm not sure how, whether it's a knockout or a submission or whatever, but yeah, it's going to be finished.
Do you feel like training at elevation in Colorado and living in the mountains, growing up in the mountains, that you're going to have a sizable cardio advantage over her? As far as
Oh yeah,
pace
for
goes?
sure. Anyone who trains at elevation is going to have that advantage, especially going down to a lower elevation to fight.
What do you feel like is gonna? What do you feel like you're gonna have to do really well to walk away with the victory over Itzel?
Honestly, I feel like just putting everything together. I have wrestling, I have striking, I have jiu-jitsu, I have all of it. Plus, I have the mental game and I have the heart to go. I feel like if I put everything together and do what I know I can do, then I'm going to come out with a victory.
You're 19. You're just getting started in the game. You have a long future ahead of you. What's your long-term plans, or if they're short-term plans, to get to the UFC or the main stage of one of the main stages in MMA? What's your timeline like for yourself?
Well, obviously, when I talked to the UFC, I asked them, and they've said several different things where you have to have 3 fights under your belt, and right now, just having one amateur fight, they're not really focused on me. But once they see, my performance and stuff, I feel like they'll realize that I'm not just another 19-year-old girl who wants to fight. It's something that I'm doing and that I'm going for. And in terms of that, I mean, I see myself going anywhere from, the next year or so.
How many more fights?
I'm ready whenever. I've sparred with the girls in the UFC, and I feel like I can compete.
How many more fights do you want to get in this year, with half the year left?
I was talking about that earlier, and I'm fine with as many as I can get in. As long as I stay healthy, I'm ready to fight. Right after this, I took the fight with Mackenzie Dern. I tried to anyways. I said yes for July 15th, which is, right after this fight. And they offered it to me, and I said yes, and then she turned it down. So that's definitely a fight that I wanted. And then I'm hoping to get in terms of after beating Itzel. But yeah, I'm ready to fight. As long as I stay healthy, I'll fight anytime.
Sweet. What was I going to ask you here? Sorry, give me 1 second here. Do you think, how far away do you think you are as far as being able to compete with like the top 5 in the UFC in the division? When you how many fights do you feel like you want to get under your belt? They've said 3 or whatever. But how many do you feel like you should get under your belt to be comfortable with that?
To me, to compete in the UFC, I'd go tomorrow. Honestly, I watched girls in the UFC fight, and not to say any names, but I've watched just on Saturday, I watched the girls fight in the 115 division, and honestly, I could win a fight against them 9 out of 10 times, and they're not even in the top 5, obviously. So I definitely know that I could compete with the top 5. I've sparred with several people. I remember sparring with TJ Dillashaw and him saying stuff like that, like, you could compete with these girls. And honestly, I feel ready. I mean, everyone has a different opinion about it. Some people are like, yeah, you should wait a few years. Some people want you to fight more amateur fights before you even turn pro. But I say if you can fight and that's something that you're passionate about, just do it,
True. When you have a goal set for yourself, you're talking about a year, you think you can get there within a year. Do you feel any pressure to finish, like to go out there and apply pressure and have like a really, really devastating finish?
I mean, getting a devastating finish would be great.
Sure.
Getting any kind of finish would be great.
Fair.
Getting a decision, as long as, a win or a loss, I mean, it's just one fight. Like I said, obviously I'd like to keep my wins up and my losses down, but if I win, great. And if I have a fight where I lose one, I mean, you gotta learn from your mistakes and keep going.
Sure.
And that's one thing that I've talked to my coaches a lot about is we're not gonna get knocked down over just one loss or one win. It's all a big picture, and it's where you're going, not where you're at necessarily. It's how far we're gonna keep pushing, even when you get set back or when you get a big victory. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. Last question for you. Listen, I'm a betting man, so I'm gonna throw some money down on LFA 14. What should I bet my money on? As far
bet it on me.
And what round? If I'm making the prediction.
I'm gonna go for the
first round stoppage.
because I feel confident in my abilities.
Beautiful. Well, listen, Maycee, I look forward to the fight. I will definitely be tuned in, and we'll be going for that first round finish. Thank you very much for taking some time to talk with us, and hopefully we can have you back on the show later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Wow. Super confident for someone with no pro fights. I was so busy listening to her, I slipped up there. I didn't realize. I was like, where am I?
I was thinking about her. I'm wondering whether or not they pulled the Dern fight from her because maybe they were setting up that title match. So maybe if she does win, maybe she will get that shot.
Maybe I have no idea. That's interesting. I don't know. I'd like to see. I always like to see people get a few fights under their belt. Whatever. You don't want to throw people immediately into that pressure. Sometimes it can ruin some guys. You see it a lot in the flyweight division in the UFC's male side. just guys get to that title shot quicker than they probably should.
It's true, but some people also strive on the fact of not knowing, just going with it.
Cody Garbrandt had like 4 fights in the UFC or 5 fights. And he was fighting for a shot. So, by no means does that rule anybody out. And she sounds super confident in her skills. I'm really looking forward to it because Itzel's very tough. So it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, it's going to be solid.
Definitely. We're going to be back with Cortez, Coleman, and Chris Harris. We're going to be talking about their upcoming fight, LFA 15. I'm looking forward to that conversation. So we'll be right back with them on the line. Stay with us. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Chris Harris and Cortez Coleman on the line. They'll be competing at LFA 15 June 30th in Oklahoma. What's going on, gentlemen? Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure, man. Thanks for having me, Bill.
Absolutely. I was really excited when I heard this fight was announced. I think it's going to be a great fight. What were your thoughts, Chris, when you first heard the fight was announced and you'd be meeting Cortez? What were your thoughts on the fight?
I really like the matchup. I mean, I don't like being in boring fights, and it doesn't look like he does either. So, I mean, I was excited about that. It looks like we both want to win, impressively. Neither one. He doesn't look like he tries to have a slow-paced, boring fight, so I'm excited about it.
Definitely. And Cortez, what were your thoughts on the fight, man? How do you feel like you match up with Chris?
Hey, man, what Chris said. I'm usually excited about it. I'm usually talking some shit to people trying to get them to stand up. Man, I've been in the sport for a while, man. I've watched Chris, man. He's young. He likes to go out there and bang, which, hey, that's what I like, man. I've been doing it for a while. And this, when they gave me this fight, I had another guy that they were going to fight me, man, and it's hard to give me a lot of opponents, man. Down there in my state, people kept turning it down. And, my manager from Sutcliffe Punch emailed me and was like, hey, Chris Harrison. He was like, man, you'll like the guy. And I was just like, let's do it. As soon as he told me, I looked up a few fights. I actually looked up probably one fight. And it was this fight in Bellator, man. He fought another guy from Kansas, and I watched maybe 2 minutes of it, and I said, okay, that's enough. He likes to bang. He used to stand up. He didn't try to take no one down. I was like, let's do it. So I'm excited about it, man. It's going to be probably the best fight on the card.
I'm really looking forward to this one. Chris, you're coming off your first career loss with Bellator against Jordan Young. How important is it for you to get back into this fighting and get an impressive performance in?
I guess I'm gonna go about it a weird way. Having that loss really opened my eyes. It made me take a step back and look at what I was doing. I was putting too much pressure on fighting. I've always done it just because I love doing it. Like, I love waking up every day and training. And that fight, I went into it with a completely different mentality, and it kind of helped me reset. So going into the fight is back to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, winning's important in this sport. Obviously, I want to do it for a career, for the long run, everything. But I got to get back to thinking about doing it because I enjoy it. So that's why I was so excited about this matchup. Because Cortez has been around for a long time, and he's gonna come and push me and test me, and he's gonna give me what I fight for. I've never fought with the anticipation of blowing up and being some huge figure. I've done it because I enjoy the process of it. I enjoy waking up every day and training and grinding, and whatever comes from it is what comes from it. So going into this fight, that's kind of my mentality. Like, the loss isn't even really in my mind. I mean, that fight was a boring fight, and it wasn't what I fight for. I fight for what I'm anticipating Cortez giving me, for tests, to test myself and learn new things about myself.
And Cortez, for yourself, you have almost double the amount of fights as Chris does. Do you feel like that experience is going to play a factor in this fight?
Said yes, sir.
Sorry?
Say it again.
Sorry, I said you have almost double the amount of fights as Chris does. Do you feel like that sort of experience is going to play a factor in this fight?
Man, people say experience can, play a factor, man. A little, it could be, it could play some. I've been around a lot. I trained with some of the best in the world, Robbie Lawler, Matt Hughes. I trained. So, I've learned some tricks in my days. But, man, no, like I said, I don't think it's going to play no factor. The guy, he's young. He likes to go out there and bang. He got some pretty good striking. And, that's what I like to do. I have been in there with a lot of veterans. So, I feel like I'm definitely going to be a test and probably one of the biggest fights that that he's had. So, far as experience, that might be a little, that's going to be different for him. I feel like I'm definitely, going to be the toughest test that he ever faced it.
Chris, you're a guy that comes out and you come out hard. Can we expect that same Chris Harris from you to come out and go for that, 5 first-round finishes under your belt, kind of a blitz attacker? Can we expect that same kind of guy when you get in there at LFA 15?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you go back and look at my record, my look at my fights, look at me as a person, whatever. That's what I like. Cortez keeps saying. I like to bang. I want to stand in the middle of the octagon or middle of the cage and see who's tougher. That's how my career's gone this far. Obviously, that you got to be smart about it, and with a veteran like him, I have to do different things. I have to fight different, but at the end of the day, I think what he was getting to about the experience. At the end of the day, it's we're gonna go in there and do what we do regardless.
Where do you feel like your biggest advantage is over Cortez in this fight?
To be honest, we'll find out on fight night. I've watched his fights. Obviously, I can't be stupid and not try to learn about him, but I'll have no idea until he hits me and I feel it, then I would like to say my biggest advantage would be my chin. I've taken some shots, but until he hits me, I have no idea.
Cortez, you were laughing.
We're gonna find out on Saturday. On the night of Friday night, the night of the fight.
Fair enough. And you were laughing there, Cortez. What was that about?
Say it again, bro.
I said you had a little laugh on there when he said his advantage. He might feel like he's hoping the advantage is his chin.
Dude, I like it. Usually, man, I don't use like any of my opponents, man, but I like this dude and just what he said, man. It's like when you ask him what's the weakness, he's a banger. You know what I mean? I like to stand up and fight. Of course, I'm a browned up 2 strikes under Carlos and Grayson, but I don't like to hug and do jiu-jitsu. That ain't what I like to fucking go fight. You know what I mean? That's what I've always done. I come from a boxing background. I like to stand up and show my skills. I respect every fighter. I'm just like him. On Friday night, we'll see what the weakness is. I've watched his fights. I know what he's good at. And we'll just have to see on Friday night. I know that I have a hell of a chin. I've never been stopped in the octagon, and I fought some hitters. Never had an amateur career. I went straight pro. So, it ain't no advantages. This is going to be 2 fucking bulls, 2 guys who like to go fight. I sit in the middle of the octagon and fucking throw down into one of us. Like I tell people, I God, it doesn't happen, but one of us might go to the hospital that night, or if not, it's just going to be a bloody fucking decision. It's going to be a badass fight, hands down.
Are you anticipating the fight to go the full 3 rounds?
Every fight I fucking get, bro. That's how I think about it. I don't go out there looking for a knockout. I'm not going to fucking be this Conor McGregor and predict shit. Every time I get ready to fight, man, I'm looking. Yeah, I tell myself, if we're going 5, I'm going 5. So I can be mentally prepared to go for fucking anything. So I look forward the fight at 3 minutes. I don't say I'm gonna stop. I don't say I'm gonna do that because then shit happens. What I say is I'm ready to go. If it's 3 rounds, we're going 3 rounds. If it's 5, it's going 5. You know, I just know that Cortez Coleman is gonna perform. Man, I've been here at camp at Denver, going on 6 to 7 weeks, and I'm feeling great for it. I'm excited.
Definitely. One question for you, Chris. You know, you're 8-1. A week before you guys meet in the cage, Eric Anders and Brendan Allen will be meeting for the middleweight title. Do you feel like an impressive victory could put you in line for that title shot?
Like I said, kind of, you know, earlier about my loss to Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think about what's going to happen tomorrow. You know,
Okay.
if that whoever wins that fight, if I'm offered that next, or you know whatever, that who knows? The first thing I got to do is win that fight. But granted that Cortez was the last person that fought for their title before, you know, if I'm not mistaken,
right?
Then obviously I would assume that the winner out of our fight is the number 1 contender, or at least the guy that's next in line to fight the loser of that fight. I don't know. I mean, but who knows? They could bring somebody from Russia to fight that guy. I don't know.
Fair
enough. The only thing I can think about is training tomorrow, and then training the day after that, and then the night of the fight. I can think about the night of the fight, and then whatever happens after that is what happens.
Fair enough. Cortez, you know, before we wrap things up, why don't you let everyone know what can we expect from you on fight night? Let the fans know. What kind of?
Hey man, you can just expect fireworks. You know, a whole different ball game of Cortez, but very fucking action packed. You know, you can just guarantee a fucking awesome fight. I can guarantee you that, man. I'm up here in Denver with some awesome guys, man, and you can see a full pace fight from the start to the finish.
Cool. You know, Chris, anything you want to add, man? Any about the fight, or any shout-outs you want to give, sponsors, anything like that? And give you a quick minute here, and then I'll give Cortez a minute to shout out some sponsors or anything he wants to say.
I don't really. I mean, I'll give a shout-out to the gyms. I guess I've been training in Kansas City at Glory with all those guys up there, and then my gym, JMTK, here in Wichita. But, I mean, as far as the fight goes, like he's saying, you know, my mentality going into every fight is either I'm going to knock him out, he's going to knock me out, or we're going to have fight of the night.
Fair enough. That's
I don't anticipate him, you know, trying to ease out a decision victory, and you definitely can expect me not to do that. So, like he said, it's gonna be a war. Either one of us is going to sleep, or we're gonna have fight of the night.
Yeah, this is one I'm really looking forward to, 100%. What was that, Cortez?
I just said yes, sir. I'm excited. I'm gonna get ready to go to Red Rock and get this 6-mile run in. I'm just pumped with it.
Sweet. Any shout outs to sponsors or anything you want to throw out before we
man, I just want to give a shout out to my people back home. You know, I own an academy back home. They're running my gym, keeping it good. You know, my coaches, Martin Puya, Sandro, Carlos, and Grayson. And to all my sponsors back home, man, my main sponsors, Ada Nissan and Silver Creek Service, you know, Lion Gate Fruit, and just all of my sponsors. I got a shit ton of people who get behind me. That, you know, I'm able to train with some of the best and get all the strength stuff that I need. So just shout out to all of my sponsors and everyone that follow me, man. And on June 30th, I'm headed back home to, you know, Oklahoma and coming out there to do this.
Sweet, man. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I want to thank you guys for giving me some of your time. I know you're really busy. You get pulled in a lot of directions. So thank you for making some time for us here at the Fight House. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I look forward to the fight. Have a great night, gentlemen.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
A lot of respect going on around tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I really like it. You know,
it's awesome.
I'm a guy that I mean, I enjoy the smack talk. If it's witty, if it's clever, I'm a fan of it.
I like what he said.
I really like the respect too.
I like what he said there. He's just like, either we're both gonna bang, and either I get a knockout or he gets a knockout, or it's fight of the night. I never heard it said like that, but it's true. I mean, if you go with that mentality, you're gonna make some money. That's for sure in the sport, regardless of the record. But
I'm a huge fan of the guy, both those guys. Chris Harris is a beast. That guy just throws leather. He slings leather. It's very clear. As you could tell from the conversation, it's very clear what they're both intending to do.
So it's gonna be an
It's
awesome
interesting
card.
to have those conversations with people when it's like, no, it's this cut and dry. It's this simple. Like there's no antics. There's no background to it. There's no all these little tiny variables. No, I'm gonna go out there with my gloves done up and on and ready for war, and we're gonna crack until someone can't crack no more.
Yeah, it's like you ask the guy, it's like, what do you do for a living? When one person's a mixed martial artist, and then he'll definitely just say fighter. It's a difference.
Yeah, he's just a
mentality.
fighter, you can just tell. But you know what? I really enjoyed today's show. I really enjoyed having these guys on to talk. I like I like that sort of format.
You just let it flow, free flow, whatever
just
happens.
Talk to them, about the fight, what's going on. If there's controversy, there's controversy. If there's respect, there's respect. I'm happy either way.
And
I really enjoyed.
You're going to interview both of them anyway, so you might as well.
Well, that was the point of it all, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed both conversations, and I truly am a fan of the respect and that sort of back to the original martial art, respect the opponent type of attitude.
Yeah. Well, they all work so friggin' hard that, that how could you not really? I mean, certain people want to sell fights, but at the end of the day, you talk to them at the end.
At the end of the day, Conor McGregor, we know they just announced it today, where he's fighting Floyd Mayweather, but he's going to talk, he's where he is because he talks shit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, you see that side of it. You understand why people do it. It makes perfect sense. But then I also really respect the guy that's like, listen, I don't care to make $75 million. It'd be nice, but I'm not going to sell my soul for it.
The sport is built on those kind of guys.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm going to be that guy, So I have a lot of respect for that. I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. It was a really good one. Listen in. You'll be back next week. We're going to have a bunch of the contestants from the Dana White Contender Series. That should be interesting, so I'm really looking forward to that. And, other than that, it's we're out of here, and it's another good week. It's me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy.
Can't go wrong. So stick with us next week. We're going to be back with another good one, and everyone have yourselves a great night. Thanks for sticking with us. Bye.